A very good day to everyone, and I'd like to welcome everyone to today's forum organized by Kolej Universiti Kuala Lumpur. My name is Nurizati, and I will be your moderator for today. We are blessed to be gathered here today to witness this forum, and for today's topic will be about internal auditing in the public sector. First of all, I would like to thank our honorable panels for being here with me today to share their knowledge, opinions, and discussion regarding this topic. This is the first time of forum of this type for us that we are going to be hosting specifically in responding of COVID-19 pandemic. Today's forum is really to look at all the details information that we can discuss regarding the internal auditing in the public sector. It's a real opportunity to hear the discussion on what things are looking also into the future of this topic by this well-known expert to see how they think about internal auditing in the public sector. Before we begin, let me introduce you to our dedicated panels. First, we have Ms. Nur Amira. She is the external auditor from one of the top audit firms in our country, YH Tan and Associates, as our first panel. Our second panel is Ms. Nur Fakihah. She is an internal auditor from University of Nottingham, Malaysia, UNMC. And next, we have Mr. Hanif as our third panel. He is a representative from the National Audit Department. Last but not least, we have Ms. Atika, a lecturer from Kolej Universiti Kuala Lumpur itself, as our fourth panel. In preparing for today's forum, there will be two sessions, which the first one is the discussions among panels. We all will be getting all the information we needed to hear regarding this topic. For the second session, it will be a Q&A session, and I will be asking the question myself since we did not have any audience live with us today, so please be patient with me. I'd like to start off this afternoon by acknowledging the definition of internal auditing. Internal auditing is an independent, objective assurance and consulting activity designed to add value and improve in organizations' operations. It helps an organization accomplish its objective by bringing a systematic, disciplined approach to evaluate and improve the effectiveness of risk management, control, and governance processes. The public sector represents a principal-agent relationship. The officials acting as the principals and the public will be acting as the agent and must periodically account to the principals for their use and stewardship of resources and the extent to which the public's objectives have been accomplished. An effective audit activity reduces the risk inherent in a principal-agent relationship. The principal relies on the auditor to provide an independent, objective evaluation of the accuracy of the agent's accounting and to report on whether the agent uses the resources in accordance with the principal wishes. So, my question to Ms. Amira as our first panel, as an auditor, the position of audit role is really important in public sector. Can you tell us how the audit role works in public sector?
Okay. Thank you to my moderator. Okay, today I want to explain about the audit role. First of all, thank you for very much for getting me here, and I am Nur Amira, asking me one. So let's begin. As an internal auditor, the position of auditor is as important as you said just now. Element of strong public sectors, we oversight, insight, detection, deterrence, and foresight being the focus of public governance. Okay, public sector's performance guarantees the ability to effectively provide resources and the process is implemented in a fair and a reasonable manner. If this way, the public sector's efficiency can be tracked and applied in order to achieve this objective. Furthermore, auditors also perceive the nature of the public sector as it represents the new citizens.
Oh, wow, I see. Now we go to our next panel. So, Ms. Fakihah, as an internal auditor, what is public reporting in auditing in your opinion?
I agree with you. And Ms. Amira. Okay, before I answer the question, may I introduce myself first? For those who are not know me, my name is Nur Fatiha as panel 2, obviously. Okay, back to the question. Reporting relationship affected the audit activities, independence, and scope of work. Reporting line refer to the organizational structure under which the CAE is appointed and control relative to the activities subject to audit. Public sector organizations around the world are competitive and varied. Not all public sector agencies can be supported by a single governance model for the support and supervision of audit activity. Based on need and condition, many systems depend on a combination of external and internal audit activity. Regardless of the public sector entity structure, the organizational placement of the audit activity should provide sufficient safeguard to prevent the audited entity from interfering with audit ability to perform its work and report the result objectively. Although the internal audit activity can add significant value to the organization because of its detailed familiarity and understanding of operational conditions, it may have hampered in upholding the public trust if protection to its independence are not established and cannot be maintained.
Wow, thank you for the explanation, Ms. Fatiha. New things that we have learned for today. Now I go to our next panel, Mr. Hani. Based on what I know, public sector organizations often need to build confidence in many aspects of business, such as system, data, processes, or information. Can you tell us briefly on the types of audit that we have nowadays for the aspect of business?
Okay, thank you to our lovely moderator, Mizati. Okay, I'm Ahmad Hanif, so I'm gonna talk about the type of audit actually. First of all, talking about type of audit, the audit is actually classified into many different types and level of assurance according to the objectives, scopes, purpose, and procedure of how auditing is performed. But before going into more details of the type of the audit, actually, all audit you have known actually is divided into two types, internal and external, where internal audit is when a company wish to maintain a high standard of control inside the organization and want to reduce the amount of work done by the external auditor. While external audit is when an independent firm comes into the company or the business and perform the audit work on the behalf of the company or its shareholders. Firms such as the PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is PwC, the Deloitte, KPMG, and Ernst and Young, EY, are example of external auditor actually. The audit actually can be further classified into many types, including financial audit, operational audit, compliance audit, fraud audit, information system audit, management audit, and so on.
Wow, Mr. Hanif, I felt that there are still much search of information overflowing from you. But we will continue that in the next round to talk into more details, especially on types of audits. Okay, as you guys know, a corporate governance practice common in the private sector is the use of audit committees. Public sector entities also may look to the audit committee to play a similar role. So, can you explain in the detail about the audit and other oversight committees in the public sector, Ms. Atika?
Okay, first of all, thank you very much for getting me here, and I am Nuratika as panel 4. So, let me begin with the manner in which supervisory accountability is key to good governance. Public sector agency may also look to the audit committee to play a similar role. In addition, based on the particular condition of this organization, audit committee function within a number of governance frameworks. However, several public sector agencies have defined alternate ways to perform the function of the audit committee.
Quite a nice clarification, Ms. Atika. But you should tell us in depth about the role of the audit committee, as we have no familiarity with the functions of the audit.
Right, sure. So let's get started. There are a variety of roles in the audit committee that I would like to let you know. First, the audit committee will significantly increase the transparency, credibility, and efficiency of public sector audit operation by having objective supervision of internal and external audit work schedule and performance, determining the demand of audit service, and managing the auditor interaction with the company. Second, audit committee also ensure that the findings of the report are fair and that any suggested change or disciplinary action is discussed or resolved. Each public service institution should assess its governance framework and decide if the audit committee is suitable for its situation. In certain public sector agency, audit committee should be organized as subcommittee of the legislative branch or board of directors. Other agencies can form audit committee made up of members of the public appointed by the legislative or executive branches.
Oh, so we have finally done our first round. As promised, we still have our second session, which we will discuss more depthly in public sector auditing. I guess still have the same energy.
Okay,
Okay.
yes, still good.
By not wasting our time, let's get started. Okay, wait a second, Mr. Amir. You have mentioned many types of audit just now.
Okay.
I just want to ask you, are there any other services provided by auditors?
Yes. Actually, there's a few other services that auditor can provide, such as, first of all, consulting service, which is actually an advisory and it includes counsel, advice, facilitation, process design, and limited training. The objective of consulting service is actually to add value in the development or modification process, procedure, and control to minimize risk and achieve objective of the company. The next service is special investigation. The special investigation is actually quite same as the fraud audit, which is to evaluate allegation of fraudulent business practice and misconduct involving financial or operational matters to determine if allegation are substantiated and to prevent future occurrence. Then we have another service which is a follow up service engagement, which is to evaluate plans and action taken to correct previously reported condition as a result of complete audit and investigation. And there is actually many other services.
Thank you, Mr. Anis. I clearly understand that. Before this, Mr. Anis, you have mentioned briefly on the type of audit. Can you tell us in more detail about each types of audit you had mentioned, since we need to be clear about it?
Sorry for the interruption. May I explain first a little bit about five types of review in public sectors, and then Mr. Hadi can continue explain about all types of audit that we consider in life by us auditors. Can
Sure, you may continue, Miss Amira.
Okay, you may continue. You may continue.
Okay, firstly, oversight. We can see auditors helping to make oversight decisions by determining whether public sector agencies are spending funds to comply with law and regulations. In addition, compliance audit lead to public transparency by allowing stakeholders inside and outside the company being audited access to the performance information. Okay, it is responsibility of manager to evaluate risk and set up effective controls to achieve target and prevent risk. Oversight also plays a role in the identification and prevention of public corruption by public sectors, including fraud, risk or mishandling, and other misconduct of the powers and resources entrusted to government officials. Then, detection. Okay, the purpose of detection is to recognize improper, ineffective, illegitimate, dishonest, or unethical actions that have occurred and incurred and gather evidence to or support for prosecution, disciplinary or other. detection. Detection attempts can also be performed in different ways, which include okay, first, an auditor investigation is a suspicious case or allegation that requires detailed procedure and tests to detect fraud, wastefulness, or abuse. Second, audit system risk, accountable security of information system which assess disbursement of an entity and associate internal controls. Third, evaluations of possible conflict of interest during the development and application of rule, mission, and procedure. Besides that, veterans. Veterans tries to identify and eliminate corruption in able situations. Auditor aim to prevent fraud and other public trust risks by firstly assessing control for existing or purpose functions. Second, assessing organizational or audit specific risks, reviewing purpose change to existing law, rules, and implementation procedure. Last, reviewing contract for potential conflict or interest. Next, insight. In order to effectively manage risk from competitors, such as stakeholder request perspective in a strategic priority, thus will championing best practice and lend one to the risk for bias and analytical view of the company as is an internal audit risk manager to challenge activity. Therefore, audit can provide an informative overview of challenges, resources, tasks, and obligations that can motivate stakeholders to consider solutions to issue along with an application of the root cause of the issue and lastly, foresight. Okay. By recognizing trend and drawing attention to emerging issues before they become disasters, auditors often help the companies look forward to recognize challenges and opportunities emerging from rapidly evolving science and technology. The dynamic of global society, international events, and change in the nature of the company, such as demographic factors, economic conditions, or evolving security threats. However, through this position, auditors also protect key public principles. Public sector auditors help ensure that administrators and officials perform the business of the public transparently, reasonably, and honestly by providing oversight, insight, and foresight services. And secondly, public sector auditors must conduct their work with integrity and with full compliance with law and regulations.
Wow, amazing explanations, Miss Amira. I think that you must go and get something to drink. So, Mr. Hanif, can you
Okay.
continue tell us in more detail about each types of audit you had mentioned earlier?
Okay. I will explain a bit of four types of audit that can be considered being done by most of the companies nowadays, which are first of all the financial audit. This is the type where the auditor review accounting and the financial transaction to determine if commitments, authorization, and receipt and disbursement of funds are properly and accurately recorded and reported. Unlike external financial audit, internal financial engagement or internal financial audits does not prepare or express professional opinions on the financial statement fairness. Second of the types of audit is operational audit. This audit assess risk and evaluate internal control of operational system for departments, units, and function. Operational audit objective include determining whether operations are functioning efficiently, effectively, and in accordance with management intent. The operational audit function evaluates the use of resource of the company available to the department, unit, or function to determine if the management objective and goals are being met in the most effective and efficient manner. Third of the type of audit is the compliance audit. For this type, the auditor needs to determine if the entities, which is the company, are complying with applicable law, regulation, policies, and procedure. Example include the federal law, the state law, and also the other policies and procedure that been set by the company. The recommendation usually require improvement in process and control used to ensure compliance with regulation. Fourth of the types of audit is the information system audit. Okay, since our world is going further into the artificial intelligence and technological advancements, information security needs to be focused more in depth. So for this, the auditor review the internal control environment of automated information processing system and how people use this system. The engagement or the audit usually evaluates system input, output, the processing control, the backup and recovery plan, system security, and the computer facility itself. This engagement or the audit may review the existing as well as the developing system. Okay, I think I take too much time, so I will just stop on these four types, since from my opinion, these four are commonly used now.
Thank you, Mr. Ani, for a very high quality input we are given on the four types of audits, which are financial audit, operational audit, compliance audit, and information system audit.
Thank you.
So I may therefore infer that the need for and the membership of the audit committee will depend on their circumstances, the nature of the audit activity, and the decisions of the legislative or regulatory body. Thus, when the audit committee is set up, it should aim for many aspects to meet the audit committee's best practice based on integrity characteristics. As for that, I would like to hear from Ms. Atika about the best practice.
As for the best practice of the audit team, there are 7 qualities that they can strive to achieve. First, work under structured order, preferably law with adequate power to meet the order. Second, have qualified participants who individually have adequate experience of audit, financing, risk, and management. Third, supervised by a delegate who is not the person whom the CAE report administers to. Fourth, evaluate the efficiency of the policy, risk assessment, and control mechanism of the company, as well as statutory and regulatory enforcement. Sixth, provide oversight of the administration, internal and external audit operations, including maintenance, supervision, monitoring, and funding. Approve the internal audit code and audit plan. Review the performance of audit activity and approve the hiring of internal and external auditors. Six, oversee the financial statement and accounting practice of the company. Finally, have a transparent connection and daily reports to the governing body or other authority of the company.
I think I can be one of those internal audit in the company already. Without us noticing, we're almost at the end of our forum. Before we end this discussion, can you tell us in more details, Ms. Fakiha, what is the reporting line of the auditor?
Okay, the reporting line of the auditor is tied to the function independence, which is the most fundamental element of an effective and credible public sector audit activity, because the public sector auditor's role is to provide unbiased and accurate information on the use and result of public resources. Auditors must be able to conduct and report on their work without interference or the appearance of interference. Independence is achieved when the audit activity report outside the hierarchy of the organization and activities under audit, and when auditors are free to conduct their work without interference, restriction, or pressure from the organization being audited.
Such an amazing explanation, Ms. Fakihah. I believe that we can all agree that there are too much information and explanations in our plate right now, which is good, by the way. I can say that our honorable panels are very full with knowledge regarding today's topic. And finally, we come to the end part of our forum today. I would like to thank all the dedicated panels for their contribution to share their knowledge about today's topic, internal auditing in public sector, and also for the informative discussion and depth explanation. A million thanks to all of you for your time today. Hopefully, our forum today will be beneficial to everybody. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you
Waalaikumsalam.
guys. Waalaikumsalam.